So Defence Secretary John Healey has resigned in dramatic fashion over the government's military spending plans, accusing the Prime Minister of pursuing a defence budget that falls short of what the country needs at a time of growing international threats. But what do the numbers actually tell us? Let's have a look at how defence spending has changed over the years. In this graph, you can see how it's fallen across the West over the last several decades. After the Second World War, it remained high and stayed above 5% of GDP for much of the Cold War. But in the 1990s, following the collapse of the Soviet Union, it dropped significantly. In a more dangerous world, defence chiefs in the UK argue spending hasn't increased anywhere near enough to keep pace with the threats we now face. You can also see over here, this is Russia's spending, the comparison particularly relevant given the war in Ukraine. So let's have a look at where defence spending stands in the NATO military alliance. You can see the UK here in red. It's towards the top of the pack at around 2.3% of GDP, the level when the Labour government came to power. But that should be seen in the context of renewed global threats and growing pressure from the United States, which is urging member states to contribute 5% of GDP to defence and related security spending. But why has John Healey resigned over defence spending? Well, he's revealed that the government's defence investment plan would increase defence spending from around 2.6% next year of GDP to 2.68% by 2030. Now, he argues that's nowhere near enough and says spending should reach 3% of GDP by 2030, by the end of the decade. The Prime Minister has committed to increasing defence spending further with a target up here of 3.5% of GDP in line with NATO commitments. The question then raised by Healey's resignation is not whether defence spending is rising, it's why the increase is being pushed so far into the future and why the pace of change is so slow.